Hello everyone. Thank you guys for watching, tuning in on this morning video. Today's September 27th, 2025, and we're going to talk about the tropics. We're going to talk what is happening right now with Hurricane Humberto, a Category 4 hurricane. Like I mentioned in previous videos, it basically pulling an errand, which is the fact that forecasting models did not predict that this was going to intensify to the level that it is right now. Now, another thing to keep in mind is, as of last night, the National Hurricane Center also pointed out that Humberto has a chance of becoming a Category 5 hurricane. The positive, how I've mentioned in my previous videos, the positive is that it is in the middle of nowhere. So the only threat to land right now may be Bermuda, depending on the track. But as of right now, that's pretty much it. So the fact that even if it becomes a Category 5 is okay. It's not going to affect anybody but potentially Bermuda. But it all depends. We'll see. May not even affect it at all. So that's what you guys are seeing. Now, the one thing I noticed yesterday, it was more on a location around here, and it kind of just drifted southwest. And the National Hurricane Center, with the 11 p.m. update, they updated the cone and shifted it more west. Now, as you guys are seeing now, it seems to be feeling more the high pressure ridge, like the edge of the ridge. So that's why it's moving a little bit more on an angle. So instead of like how it did yesterday, kind of like that, or further south, is mostly actually kind of, starting to do that or lifting. Depending how much it lifts, it has a probability or a chance that it may not affect Imelda as much, which that I'm going to show you something that it has been very, very significant, and from the forecasting model shift regarding PTC9, soon to be Imelda. But I wanted to show you, first of all, Humberto. Let's take a look also at the, see, it has a 938 millibar pressure, so it's approaching Category 5 status. As of 5 o'clock in the morning, it had winds of 145 miles per hour, moving west at 6. But clearly, you guys are seeing that it's not moving west. It's moving more west-northwest and instead of due west. Now, according to the spaghetti models, zooming in there, you have Bermuda here. So it's expected to move west of Bermuda, but that's too close to comfort, in my opinion, depending how big the storm goes or gets. And another thing to keep in mind as well is that the worst part of the storm is normally the north, what they call the northeast quadrant. But that's usually the worst part, or the dirty side, that it has been dubbed for years now. And on the current track, that seems to be the case, that they may get potentially impacts from the dirty side of the storm. So right now, again, Bermuda seems to be the concern as we speak. Now let's back up to the intensity. As far as intensity, the forecasting models are pretty split. I mean, you have maybe one or two models that say, yes, it's making it to Category 5, but the consensus is it may have peaked already as far as strength. So let's take a look at, let me see. Let's take a look at the forecast models. Well, actually, before I do that, let me actually look at let me look at 9, or PTC9 for short. That's just, PTC stands for potential tropical cyclone. Now, the satellite imagery for this, it has been struggling to intensify, but I mean, you guys can see that it's a broad system, just mess all over the place. I mean, it's definitely bursting convection everywhere. But as of recently, everything is pointing out that probably around here is where the center of circulation is located. Now, let's go back, because things did change significantly overnight. As far as the track, that's the cone. And as you guys can see here, the cone basically has it just going north and then stalling and then out to sea. So not even making landfall. As of yesterday, South Carolina was the first state to declare a state of emergency. And now I heard that North Carolina did as well, because not necessarily because of the strength of it, but mostly because of the impacts of beach erosion. Also, the stalling was expected to cause significant flooding, and some of the earlier rain totals were sitting around anywhere from about, I mean, as high as 20 to 24 inches of rain near the Outer Banks in North Carolina. But that has backed off quite a bit, so it's not expected to cause that much rain. But let me show you the spaghetti models for it. Again, it's very, very different. I still find it hard to believe that it's going to make a right angle to the, a right to the right angle, basically. And then you still have a couple models here that still have it making landfall in South Carolina to Georgia border. So more like in Charleston, South Carolina. But the majority have it literally just completely right angle to out to sea. And that's mostly because of Hurricane Humberto, that is going to be, because it has gone so strong, it's influencing the steering current and the steering pattern, and allowing Imelda, soon to be Imelda, to potentially just kind of stall and then out to sea. But that's to be determined. Honestly, I'm still not buying that, because it all depends how much influence it has. If Humberto starts shifting further north quicker, that's gonna have less impact on the track of Imelda. And there's other factors, depending also how slow Imelda moves. There's a high pressure system building up to coming from the Ohio Valley, so that's something that we need to keep an eye as well. That's gonna block it from moving north. So it all depends. At this point, I would say paying attention the most is timings, because if Imelda slows down and Humberto picks up speed, there's a possibility again that it's not going to affect it as much. But let's take a look at the forecasting models and see what they are saying this morning. Let's start with the GFS. So GFS again has PTC 9 there. Is to me, it's looking like the center is a little bit more like around there. So not by much, but a few more miles to the west. Not necessarily where it is right now. But as we move forward, you guys can see that Humberto is getting really close to it. And then you also have a hurricane category 1, very, very close to Florida. Then it kind of loses a little bit of its, well, actually keeps intensifying, 972, I'll take that back. And it peaks at around 968. And then, okay, let's go back here. And then 969, but it gets very close, but it doesn't make landfall. So now let's take a look at the European. The European, very, very similar track. Look at that. Intensifies to 970s, and then it goes out to sea. Well, it stalls actually. So this is an interesting scenario, because if it stalls, and it also depends on the speed of this high pressure. If this high pressure is faster and it quickly drifts this way, that's gonna block Imelda from actually moving out to sea, and it may have a chance to actually pull it inward, making landfall. But again, we'll have to see as far as the timing. Now let's take a look at the Canadian model. Now the Canadian model, similar scenario, 994, a little weaker, intensifying to 980s, stalling, and then actually making landfall more way up north, like almost where, like in Rhode Island, Connecticut. So that's an interesting scenario. And then let's check out the AI models. The AI models have been doing pretty good this year. See, the AI models have it is doing the same thing, stalling and then making landfall in the Carolinas as a weak storm, mostly in the Outer Banks. And then the Icon, very, very good agreement, similar track, but then it pulls it out to sea. So it stalls and then out to sea. So there's still a decent amount of uncertainty, but everything keeps pointing out that it's going to stall and then out to sea. So that's something interesting to keep in mind. But other than that, guys, I just wanted to make a quick video here, show you guys what is happening. Let's actually check one more thing before I let you go. Let me see what the National Hurricane Center officially said as of 8 o'clock in the morning. So with Humberto, 5 o'clock in the morning, 938 pressure, moving west at 6, 145 miles per hour. And then 1,005 millibars and moving northwest at 7 for Tropical Cyclone 9. And then the disturbance is gradually becoming better organized, expected to become a tropical storm and produce significant rainfall over portions of eastern Cuba and the Bahamas. There are no changes in warnings or advisories, but there is a tropical storm warning for central Bahamas, including Cat Island, the Exumas, Long Island, Rum Cay, and San Salvador. And then portions of the northwestern Bahamas, including Eleutheria, I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names, New Providence, the Abacos, Berry Islands, Andrew Islands, and Grand Bahama Island. Now the disturbance was center latitude 22. The system is moving towards the northwest and near 7. North-northwestward motion is expected to begin later today and continue through Monday. On the forecast track, the center of the system is expected to move across the central and northwestern Bahamas this weekend and approach the southeast U.S. coast early next week. Maximum sustained winds near 35 miles per hour. The system is expected to become a tropical depression or storm later today or tonight. Gradual strengthening is expected, therefore, with the system forecast to become a hurricane by late Monday. So that's the expectation, but we'll see what actually ends up happening. And National Hurricane Center has it peaking at 75 miles per hour. So in other words, just barely a Category 1 hurricane. No indication of rapid intensification either. Wind probabilities, basically everything, the majority of the worst part is just staying out to sea. And then the cone, let's take a look at the cone. I showed that already, but just one more time. So for the most part, almost just coastal southeast U.S. It may see something. We'll see what happens on the next updates. But so far, it seems like we basically dodged another bullet in the United States, depending how close it gets to the coast. But thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, share with families and friends if you are near either Bermuda or the East Coast, that this storm may potentially make landfall if it does. But other than that, appreciate you watching and have a good day.